Hello and welcome to Right Sports Talk. My name is Zach. We have officially made it through 11 weeks of this NFL season. In week 11, I went 12-2 with my picks, giving me an overall record of 106 wins to 60 losses. Finally got over that 100 correct pick threshold. Hope to keep the momentum going as we go through the rest of the season. So let's get into these picks for week 12. Week 12 kicks off with an AFC North matchup as the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 8-2, take on the Cleveland Browns, who are 2-8. The Steelers, coming off a very close victory to the Baltimore Ravens, in which their team did not score a touchdown, and they managed to win the ball game 18-16. Their kicker Chris Boswell went 6 for 6 on his field goal attempts, and then their defense was able to kind of shut down that Baltimore Ravens offense and give Lamar Jackson all kinds of trouble. And the Cleveland Browns are coming off of a loss to the New Orleans Saints, in which they allowed Taysom Hill to score 3 different touchdowns. Their offense still looked okay. Jameis Winston is very much just going to say, screw it, somebody's down the field, and he's just going to huck the ball. In this game, I am going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that they are just playing like such a good team right now. They're playing much better than I think anybody expected them to. Their offense is running very well. They did have a bit of a down week offensively, obviously going against the Ravens, but I expect them to get the bounce back here. I think their offense should look much better against this Browns defense. Their defense has played very well this season. I don't see why that won't continue against this Browns team that has a very inconsistent offense, even with Jameis Winston at quarterback. So I am going to pick the Pittsburgh Steelers to get the win. Now moving on to your Sunday games and Sunday afternoon. First off, you have the Minnesota Vikings, who are 8-2, taking on the Chicago Bears, who are 4-6. The Vikings coming off a win over the Tennessee Titans. The Chicago Bears coming off of a very close loss to the Green Bay Packers, which they drove down the field to attempt the last second field goal to win the game, and it got blocked. The Packers defensive line on the field goal block team was able to get just enough of their hand on the ball that it fell just short, and the Packers beat the Bears. In this game, I am going to go with the Minnesota Vikings. I think their defense is just played very well. That should pair up very well against this very inconsistent Bears offense. Bears offense did not look bad against Green Bay. However, Caleb Williams, although as good as he looked against Green Bay, still hasn't had a touchdown. He hasn't had a touchdown pass in the past hasn't thrown for a touchdown in the past 4 weeks. Right. I don't know how this run game is really going to do against this very good Vikings defense. And this Vikings offense, Sam Darnold is playing as a very consistent quarterback. He does make mistakes sometimes. He threw 3 interceptions 2 weeks ago against Jacksonville, but they still won. But the offensive pieces that they have around them should be able to play very well. With Aaron Jones, Cam Akers getting some more touches in the backfield. Obviously, Justin Jefferson, one of the best receivers in the league right now. Jordan Addison, a very good receiver. TJ Hawkinson working his way back into the offense after an injury. Has looked good the past 2 weeks. So I do think that, that the Minnesota Vikings are the better team and they will get the win here against the Bears. Next up, you have the Detroit Lions, who are 9-1, taking on the Indianapolis Colts, who are 5-6. The Lions coming off of just an absolute demolishing of the Jacksonville Jaguars, in which they won 52-6. This is the second time this season they've scored over 50 points. Their offense, their team as a whole just looks incredibly good. They look like the best team in the NFL to me right now. And you have the Colts, who are coming off of a victory over the New York Jets, which Anthony Richardson was back in as their starting quarterback after being benched the last 2 games for the Colts. Anthony Richardson looked the best he'd looked all season. He was 20 for 30 passing, which is his best completion percentage that he's had. He had 2 rushing touchdowns and a passing touchdown in that game. However, their defense just didn't look very good. They gave up 2 rushing touchdowns to Breece Hall. So I am going to go with the Lions in this game. I think the Lions are the much better, well-rounded team. The Lions' offense, especially their run game, has just looked incredible this season with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery both playing incredible in every single game. I just can't really know if we can trust Anthony Richardson to elevate the rest of the team to beat this incredible Lions team. It doesn't look like you can really trust this Colts defense, especially against this Lions run game. So I do think the Lions get the win here. Next up, you have the New England Patriots, who are 3-8, taking on the Miami Dolphins, who are 4-6. The Patriots coming off of a loss to the Los Angeles Rams, in which they were down by 6, and Drake May was trying to lead the game, release the game time, possibly game-winning drive. They got a touchdown on the extra point, and he tries to just force a pass to Demario Douglas deep over the middle. Gets intercepted. He did play well that game, although he did have some turnovers. He also had a couple touchdowns. Continues to show flashes of how good of a quarterback he can be. The Patriots, unfortunately, their defense really let them down in this game. They gave up 4 passing touchdowns to Matthew Stafford. They allowed Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp to go over 100 yards and a touchdown. The Miami Dolphins are coming off of a victory over the Vegas Raiders, in which their defense continues to look pretty good. Offensively, Johnny Smith has played very good for them lately. Devon Achane continues to look like a very good running back. Tua looks good as he works back into this offense. In this game, I am actually going to pick the New England Patriots. It is a divisional game. You don't know really how it's going to go. It is in Miami, which is a little bit scary because historically the Dolphins have beat the Patriots pretty good down in Miami. But I think that this is the week. They played each other close earlier in the season. However, that was with Tyler Huntley at quarterback for the Dolphins and Jacoby Brissett at quarterback for the Patriots. But let's think this Patriots defense, they got Christian Barmore again. He made his return in the season last week after being out with blood clots for the first 10 weeks of the season since the preseason. Drake May continues to look good. I think that this is the game that hopefully Drake May will take that next step and be able to elevate that offense to get the victory here. The Dolphins, although their defense has looked pretty good, they did let the Raiders start to get back in that game a little bit. So I'm hoping that the Patriots can just find a way to get their offense to click. Hopefully their defense and their offense can both play well, as that has not happened very often this season, and I think the Patriots can get the victory here. Next up, you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are 4-6, taking on the New York Giants, who are 2-8. Both these teams are coming off of bye weeks. Before that, they are both coming off of losses in Week 10. The New York Giants have actually benched their starting quarterback, Daniel Jones, and will actually be starting who had been their third-string quarterback in Tommy DeVito. Tommy DeVito is a second-year quarterback for this team. He started 6 games for them last year, went 3-3. I think was 3-1 in his first 4 games. And, everybody was wondering, if he could be the starter for the Giants going forward. Obviously, that did not happen. The Giants just do not really look like a team that wants to win football games right now. Obviously, they brought in Drew Lock in the offseason to compete to be the starter and be the next man up if Daniel Jones went down. But at this point in the season, they have decided to go with Tommy DeVito and not Drew Lock. For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, before obviously coming off of a loss in Week 10, they should be getting Mike Evans back for this game, who has been out for the past few weeks with I believe, a hamstring injury. So that really helps their offense. Their defense has continued to play very well this season. Baker Mayfield continues to play very well. So I do think that the Buccaneers get the win here. They just have looked like the better team. It looks like the the Giants are kind of starting to give up on their season a little bit. But who knows? Maybe Tommy DeVito goes out and he has whatever spark he had with his first few starts from last season. But I think this Buccaneers team is just better than this Giants team. So I do see the Buccaneers getting the win. Next up, you have the Dallas Cowboys, who are 3-7, taking on the Washington Commanders, who are 7-4. The Cowboys coming off of a 24-point loss to the Texans on Monday Night Football. The Washington Commanders coming off of what score-wise looked like a much closer game than it was, lost to the Philadelphia Eagles. The Commanders have now had 2 losses in a row, going back to when they played the Steelers and then the Eagles. The Cowboys, their season is just lost at this point. Cooper Rush has been their starter the past 2 weeks. I don't know if they try to, give Trey Lance more playing time just to see what they have in him, because they did trade a 4th-round pick for him a couple of years ago, or before the 2023 season. Maybe they start him to see just what he has. I don't think whichever quarterback they have makes a difference. Their offense continues to not look very good. Their run game has continued to just not be non-existent really, with Rico Dowdle and Ezekiel Elliott. In the past game, their tight end Jake Ferguson went out with a concussion, and he looks like he won't play this week against the Commanders. Obviously, they still have CeeDee Lamb, but other than that, they don't really have much offensive weapons. The Washington Commanders, Jaden Daniels continues to play very well. This run game has played very well, and the Cowboys' run defense has not been good the past few weeks. This Commanders' defense continues to play well, continues to look better as the season goes on. Fortunately, towards the end of the game against the Philadelphia Eagles, they got worn down by Saquon Barkley, and they gave up a couple touchdowns, a couple big runs. But I do think the Commanders get the win here. Next up, you have the Kansas City Chiefs, who are 9-1, suffering their first loss of the season this past week to the Buffalo Bills, taking on the Carolina Panthers, who are 3-7, who are coming off a bye week. Before that, beat the Giants in the Germany game. As funny as I think it would be for the Panthers to be able to beat the Chiefs, I don't see the Chiefs losing this game, especially coming off of a loss, coming off their first loss of the season. The Chiefs should be getting Isaiah Pacheco back for this game, so he should start to work into their offense a little bit. Although Kareem Hunt has looked very well in his starts since Isaiah Pacheco has been injured. So this Chiefs team, although they, some of their wins have been very, very close, and they have played sloppy football at times this season, I think that they should be able to beat this Panthers team, who is just not a very good team. They did show some fight against the Giants, but the Giants are also not a good team. So I do think the Kansas City Chiefs should win this game, although it would be absolutely hilarious if they lost. Next up, you have the Tennessee Titans, who are 2-8, taking on the Houston Texans, who are 7-4. The Titans are coming off of a loss to the Minnesota Vikings. And the Texans are coming off of a blowout victory over the Dallas Cowboys. My pick for this game is going to be the Houston Texans. The Titans continue to look inconsistent. Will Levis has actually been playing well the past few weeks, and tried to be able to keep them in games. But I think this Texans team is just too good. Joe Mixon is just playing incredible this season. They have Nico Collins back, who against the Cowboys would have had a 77-yard reception on a screen pass where his hamstring looked perfectly fine running down the field, but it was called back due to an illegal man downfield, or an ineligible player downfield penalty. But this Texans team think is just a better team than this Titans team, and they should get the victory here. So I do think that the Texans get the win. Next up, you have the Denver Broncos, who are 6-5, taking on the Las Vegas Raiders, who are 2-8. The Broncos coming off of a 38-6 victory over the Atlanta Falcons, in which Bo Nix threw 4 touchdown passes. Their defense continues to look very good. Their running game this week was a Javonte Williams game in the running game. They kind of flip-flop who really the number one running back is for each game. And the Raiders just have not played well. Their offense continues to struggle with Gardner Minshew at quarterback. Their defense continues to have struggles. The only real high point in their offense right now is Brock Bowers. Their number one running back, Alexander Mattison, got injured against the Miami Dolphins. He's questionable to play in this game. Even so, this running backs defense has been very good against running backs. This Broncos defense has been very good against running backs this year. I do think that the Broncos get the win here. I think Bo Nix has been playing very well as the season goes on. As the season's gone on, this past month and a half, he's looked very good. He almost led them to victory over the Chiefs. He did everything right on what should have been their game-winning drive until their field goal was blocked a couple weeks ago. He looked incredible against the Falcons defense. I don't see why he won't also look very good against this struggling Raiders defense. This Broncos defense should be able to perform very well against this very struggling Raiders offense. I do think that the Broncos get the win here. Next up, you have the San Francisco 49ers, who are 5-5, taking on the Green Bay Packers, who are 7-3. The Niners coming off of a loss to the Seattle Seahawks. The Green Bay Packers coming off of a victory off a blocked field goal over the Chicago Bears. This game, I do think, will be a very close game. These are two very good teams. The Niners are actually having a bit of a down year this year. The Packers have played well, if not inconsistent at times. However, I am going to go with the Green Bay Packers to get the victory here. Let's think offensively, they have more pieces to go to. Obviously, for the 49ers, they do have Christian McCaffrey back, but still have no Brandon Ayuk. Deebo Samuel has been beat up and playing very inconsistently. Ricky Pearsall, who has had 2 good games in a row, was just non-existent in their game against Seattle. George Kittle is beat up. Nick Bosa was beat up in the Seahawks game on defense. So I do think the Packers are the healthier team, and this game is in Green Bay, that the Packers will get the victory here against the 49ers. Next up, you have it in the NFC West battle between the Arizona Cardinals, who are 6-4 and leading that division, taking on the Seattle Seahawks, who are 5-5, coming off of their victory over the San Francisco 49ers. The Cardinals coming off of a bye week. Before that, they're coming off just an absolute blowout of the New York Jets a couple weeks ago. The Cardinals have been a very surprising team this season. I don't think anybody really thought they would do this well. But their offense has looked incredible. Kyler Murray has played well over the past month. James Conner continues to play well at running back. The rookie running back Trey Benson has actually been getting in some games and getting some touches and playing well. There is still some concern about their defense, mainly their pass rush. But the Seahawks team has been very inconsistent in the past game. Their offensive line still a little bit shaky in the past game. So I am going to pick the Arizona Cardinals to get the victory here. I know the Seahawks have momentum from beating the 49ers. But even though this game is in Seattle, and Seattle has the momentum, I think the Cardinals honestly look like a better, consistent team than the Seahawks do right now. So I do think the Arizona Cardinals get the victory here. Next up, on Sunday Night Football, you have the Philadelphia Eagles, who are 8-2, taking on the LA Rams, who are 5-5. The Eagles coming off their victory over the Washington Commanders, and the Rams coming off their victory over the Patriots. The Eagles continue to look good offensively, especially with Saquon Barkley in the run game. Jalen Hurts, a little banged up against the Commanders. It looks like maybe had his bell rung on a sack in which his face just like smashed into the ground, and he looked a little bit dazed after that and had some missed passes. Hopefully he has recovered from that and can play more like what he has been playing like the rest of the season for this offense. Defensively, this team has played very well. Their secondary is very good. Their young secondary, it's a very big transition, pretty big 180 switch from how it was last year, in which this Eagles secondary was really the weakest part of their defense. Right now, they are playing very well. Their rookie corner, Quinyon Mitchell, is shutting down number one receivers. He held Terry McLaurin to, I believe, only one catch when they played the Commanders. Their other rookie cornerback, Cooper DeJean, has played very well. Their safety, Reed Blankenship, is playing very well for them. Their defense is really stepped up for them this season and kind of gotten better since the beginning of the year. For the Rams, offensively, their pass game still looks very good. Now they have Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp healthy. Kyren Williams, the running back, has not played as well the past few games. Defensively, they forced the turnovers against the Patriots, and they play okay, but the Patriots were able to stay in that game, and their offense is nowhere near the level of the Philadelphia Eagles offense right now. So I do think that the Eagles get the win here. I think that their defense should be able to slow down this pass game of the Los Angeles Rams. I think Quinyon Mitchell should be able to, again, have a very good week against whoever he lines up against, whether it is Puka or whether it is Cooper Kupp. I think whichever receiver he's able to kind of slow down and shut down, the defense as a whole will be able to do a very good job of taking away the other receiver. Offensively, I think that this team is just too good, especially Saquon Barkley. They're going to wear down this Rams defense as the game goes on, and especially in the fourth quarter, Saquon Barkley, much like he did against the Commanders, should be able to take over the game and kind of finish the game off very strong. So I do have the Eagles getting the win. Now, finally, on your Monday Night Football game, you have the Baltimore Ravens, who are 7-4, taking on the Los Angeles Chargers, who are 7-3. The Ravens coming off of their close loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Chargers coming off of a victory over the Cincinnati Bengals, in which in the first half, the Chargers offense looked amazing. And in the second half, it looks like they just didn't want to score. Towards the end of the game, it looks like they were just trying to give the Bengals the win. But the Bengals had 2 missed field goals that would have taken the lead and possibly won the game. And on the last drive of the game, J.K. Dobbins, the running back for the Chargers, decided, fine, I'll just win. I'll do it myself. I'll win the game. He went and scored a touchdown that ultimately won them the game with very little time left on the clock. So the Bengals did not have enough time to do anything. This game is a very interesting matchup for me. It kind of reminds me in both ways of how the Bengals game was for the Chargers last week, in which this Ravens offense can play very, very well, but this Ravens defense has had a bunch of struggles. And this opponent, the Chargers, kind of remind me of what the Steelers could play like against the Ravens, in which they will slow the clock down, slow the game down, run some clock. Hopefully they can get their running backs, J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, involved in this game and kind of, really drain some clock, keep it a very slow-paced game, play very good defense, and just kind of be able to wear down this Ravens team. So I am going to go with the Chargers in this game just because they remind me so much of how the Steelers play football, and the Steelers' way of football plays very well against the Ravens. So I will take the LA Chargers to win this game. So that's why I'm winning these games this week. Let me know in the comments who you guys think is going to win. Let me know, which matchup you're most looking forward to, which matchups you're most looking forward to. I'm actually very much looking forward to the Cardinals Seahawks game. And mainly the Cardinals Seahawks and that Monday night game between the Ravens and the Chargers. So let me know if there's any games you guys are really looking forward to this week. So we, push through. On that back stretch of this football season. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe. Until next time, see you.